Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go racing here in the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway to start off the playoffs and what will be our final run in the 20 car, at least in the playoffs, before we move over to Hendrick Motorsports next season in that number 24 car. So we still have a regular season race to get underway though, or get out of the way here at Darlington in the Xfinity Series, where we had the 20 star car driven this time again actually by Denny Hamlin. Now as he's getting a few races in before the playoffs. There, as you see, Landon Castle having a good weekend, but Alex LeBay as well as Austin Cindric will have to start at the back of the field. Cindric, of course, moving up into the Cup Series next season in the career mode, as you guys know, to replace Matt DiBenedetto in that number 21 Wood Brothers racing car. So very excited to kind of see what Cindric is going to be able to do in that 21 car next season. We've seen DiBenedetto put that car in victory lane this season. He won the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway a while back now. As we come through though on this opening lap here in the Sport Clips Haircuts Help a Hero 200 at Darlington, out of turn 2 going down this backstretch. Hamlin was getting aggressive, making it 3 wide already, making some moves up that inside into turn 3 now as he was side by side with that number 98 car of Chase Briscoe, or sorry, Todd Gilliland now as he came through out of turn 4. So he was side by side with him. There's, you got the 9 of Zane Smith just in front of them now, as Smith and Todd Gilliland have both really been the masterclass, it feels like, at points in the season, and they're both rookies here in the Xfinity Series. So now obviously you guys know they're moving up into the Cup Series next season. Smith will be driving the McLaren number 7 car, and then obviously Todd Gilliland, he'll be moving up to Roush Fenway Racing there in the 6 car. So definitely, I can tell you guys right now that Smith definitely has a better ride next season in the career mode, but Hamlin comes through a little bit later, losing a position actually to Todd Gilliland as he would drive away, and then he was able to pass the 39 of Ryan Sieg and now gain another position back here, as he really wouldn't get any further here throughout the race. So we come through right to the final moments of this race here in Darlington in the Xfinity Series as Denny comes through out of turn 4. You see some battling between Ryan Sieg as well as that number 1 car of Michael Annett, but Hamlin comes through to cross the line for a still strong top 10 finish, actually P3, so it wasn't disappointing at all by any means. But Ross Chastain, he picked up the victory now, as you see the rest of the finishing order now, as we're going to get ready to get our first playoff race so underway here in Darlington for the Southern 500 now, hoping that we can just get a great first race of this playoffs now, as we've had a great season. We won the regular season championship, so we have high hopes coming into this one. Definitely expect to, at the minimum, make the Final Four now, as we've picked up a lot of playoff points. We are over 30 points to the positive, or above that cut line, coming into this first race of the playoffs now as we come through to start qualifying. Going down into turn 1, the goal was a 29.359. I was confident we could get somewhere around there. We're usually pretty strong in qualifying at a track like Darlington here as we go down the through turns 3 and out of turn 4 now, heading down this front stretch, coming through to cross the line. It's going to be close, and we do beat the goal with a 29.274 and qualify P10 here for the first race of the playoffs in the Southern 500. So a very strong qualifying effort now, as you see Chase Briscoe there just behind us in P11, a rookie that I expect to be relatively strong here in the playoffs. 2 wins so far in his rookie season. He would love to make it 3 here in Darlington now, as we're going to check out the rest of the qualifying order to just see who's on pole, and it is going to be the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. on pole, joined by Ryan Blaney, who's had a solid season. Blaney has, but he hasn't won, so it's put him in an awkward position in the playoffs without really any playoff points as well. But at the very bottom of the field, we got the 51 of Joey Gase now as we get ready to go green here for the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. There you see the playoff standings coming into this race. We are 34 points above the cut line. Hamlin, Kyle Busch, second and third, 29 and 23 above the cut line, but the 4 drivers out: DiBenedetto, Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, and Alex Bowman here now as we're getting ready to take the green flag in the Southern 500. And we have a bit of a slogan actually coming into the playoffs now that my good friend Andrew Wisdom came up with. It's hashtag going for the cup, GOWEN, you know, with just the wording with my name there. So going for the cup is the slogan here in the playoffs, and hopefully if we make the playoffs next season as well in that number 24 car. But you see Martin Truex Jr. starting at the back. He failed technical inspection, and Bell starting at the back as well. So 2 playoff drivers already sent to the back of the field here in the first race of the playoffs now, as we're ready to get underway now for the first race now, as we are under underway. The green flag is that we move up one spot into P9 right behind the number 77 of a rookie of Noah Gragson. Obviously, his final 10 races with that number 77 car before he moves over to Chip Ganassi Racing next season, replacing Kurt Busch now, who is retiring at the end of the season as he looks to go out a champion in what will be his final playoff run now as we come through out of turn 2 right on that back of the 77 of Noah Gragson. Right behind us, we got the 4 as well as the 14, the 2 Stewart Haas teammates side by side now as you see all these glorious, beautiful throwback paint schemes. A few drivers not running a throwback. You guys might be wondering, I mentioned earlier this season I was going to run a custom-made throwback, but unfortunately it didn't happen. We really put focus on getting the paint schemes for next season prepared, so we did not have a custom throwback for this episode. Now as we come through the center of turn 1 and 2, Ryan Blaney now out front after Truex being sent to the back of the field. So he was already, though, after just a lap and a half, driving away from second place, which now had belonged to Alex Bowman, who was battling side by side with his teammate of Eric Jones in the 88 car now as we come through out of turn 4, right behind that number 24 of William Byron. But we were quickly making up some ground now as Kevin Harvick, he was kind of picking his nose as we went down towards turns 1, but I sent it in really deep, nearly actually got into him and turned him around, but fortunately that did not happen. And during that process, we get up the inside of the 24 of Byron, and we are going to pass him, the same car that we will be driving next season here in the career mode. So we then would run down Kyle Busch, who kind of was struggling here in this opening run of the first stage. He could not pass Tyler Reddick even on the preferred lane of the track, so that was a bit of a concern, and I was stuck behind him, and that allowed Byron to get to my outside here. Tyler Reddick is actually able to pass Kyle Busch on the outside, so Kyle really struggling with pace right now here in the first handful of laps of this race. Now as Ryan Blaney, he was continuing to gap the field right now, and sure enough though, into turn 3 on lap 5, we would be able to get up the inside of Kyle. Unfortunately, not really lose any track position now, as we're going to be able to take the 6th position away from him here as we go down this front stretch. So Kyle Busch definitely, as we know, does not have the speed here today, but fortunately for him, he comes in over 20 points above that cut line, which isn't very safe, and even for us, 34 points above the cut line isn't the best thing to have, but definitely a lot better than a lot of our competition. But we would run down Tyler Reddick now as we came through on lap 10 of the first stage, trying to get up the inside of him, but the caution actually comes out for the first time here tonight in the Southern 500 now, as we have a few drivers pitting. Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer, Corey LaJoie, I think that was, as well as I think that might have been Daniel Suarez, all coming into the pit lane here. Obviously, none of them caused a caution. They're just trying to mix it up with strategy. I myself decided to do what the other playoff drivers were doing, and they were all staying out. So I decided we're going to take an extra position here and get ready to line up in the 5th spot. Car feels pretty good so far, guys. I'm confident in tonight. Yeah, you heard myself for the first time tonight on the radio now as we are underway for the first restart of the night, and we got about 15 laps remaining here in the first and opening stage. A long first stage, 28 laps at Darlington. As you guys know, this is really one of the longest races of the season, if not the longest usually. Now, it usually takes longer to complete this race than the Coca-Cola 600 as we exit turn 2 side by side with that 88 of Eric Jones, who has been winless this season, just like he has been in the 20 car in real life, but he's still had a very strong season in that number 88 car. But as you guys know, he will be once again jumping to another team, and that will be in the McLaren number 02 car next season. Now as we go down this front straightaway, still side by side with Jones as we dive down into turn 1. Blaney trying to already gap that field now as he's got the 48 of Alex Bowman right behind him. Ross Chastain having a good run here in P3. We know Chastain's had some speed in that car, but he's just had some terrible luck, and now he comes through finally having no issues, and here you see he's running P3. This guy was not even in the top 20 in points. That's how bad luck of a season he had, because like I said, Chastain had speed, just did not have the luck. As we come through now out of turn 2 on lap 17, though, we would be able to get ahead of that 42 car. Now is Keselowski. He's following through on that inside as we go down into turn 3. Blaney's still out front, but he really wasn't driving away like he was in before that first caution had come out here as we come through out of turn 4. And you do see a car on the pit lane. I can confirm it was actually the 14 of Chase Briscoe. Now as the caution actually comes out again, but I can confirm, like I just said, Chase Briscoe was the reason for that first caution, and he is out of this race here in the Southern 500, and that will be a DNF to the Stewart Haas rookie, and that obviously creates some playoff implications now, as our first playoff driver has had issues. He's 7 laps down. He is completely out of the race, and all the drivers that came into the pit lane on the last pit stop, they stay out. So we drop down to P8 here as we get ready to go green for the restart. So unfortunately, we got to start on the outside lane, which is definitely not preferred as we get underway right behind that 41 of Cole Custer here, and it will be 8 laps remaining now in this first and opening stage here in the Southern 500. But like I said, definitely don't want to be up here on this top, as I usually struggle on the restarts here, usually knock the wall down a couple times, but that was the main goal to not do here in this restart, as I nearly do it right there as we exit turn 2, but fortunately we do not hit the wall. But the main problem is the bottom is such a preferred lane, especially when you're stuck behind a bunch of slower cars there, as we go into the outside wall after contact with the 9 of Chase Elliott now into turn 3, and unfortunately that hurts us a little bit more as we're just still stuck right here on the top and cannot get down, as we almost had a chance right there into turn 1, but Martin Truex Jr., he was able to fill up that gap now as we are side by side with the 4 of Kevin Harvick through turn 1 and 2, and we are now down to P17 and continuing to drop. There's a hit a bump in the track and drifted up the track and then went into the outside wall again, but this time we damaged the car even more than the first time, and now we go into turn 3 and we're barely hanging on to the top 20 as we came through on lap 23 now, and we are down to P21 as we go into turn 1, finally able to get to that inside, and then we would actually jump back up to the outside when I had the chance, because I was so much faster than drivers like Daniel Suarez there, and sure enough I would clear him on the exit of turns 4. So now with 5 laps to go on the stage, we're only in P17, so we were running about P3 at the time of the caution or something like that, and now we are P17 and not going to get stage points as we exit turn 2, now having to deal with Cole Custer in the way, and unfortunately I struggled quite a bit actually to get past that 41 of Cole Custer, and now we actually make contact into turn 3, and well, we hit the wall again through turns 3, and all of a sudden everything has fallen apart here in this first stage, as Hamlin, he would be able to get to the inside of Custer, and he would drive right on by him, and then I would finally get up here again, get to the inside of LaJoy, who had just gotten passed by the 41. I pass him, and then once again we get right to the back of the 41 of Custer, and down the front straightaway, coming to 2 laps to go on the stage, we would be able to make a pass on the 41 of Cole Custer, as now Kurt Busch was leading the way here in Darlington in what will be his final Southern 500 throwback race here in his Cup Series career. So he was looking pretty strong right now, looking like he was about to win the first stage, and sure enough we come through to the final lap now of stage 1, and now we're quickly running down that 96 of Harrison Burton, one of our affiliate teammates. Obviously the battle for that 15th spot does not matter whatsoever, because we are not going to get stage points here as we go down into turn 3 for the final time now. Kurt Busch will come through to win stage 1, and we're going to come through on the exit of turns 4 to unfortunately get to P16 here in the first and opening stage. Good car, guys. I made some silly mistakes there, just being trapped on the outside on the restart. I apologize, of course, but yeah, I'll do what I can here to make it up to you. There you hear myself there just kind of apologizing to the team. We have 3 seconds of repairs going into the pit stop, so we're definitely going to probably drop down from P16 by a few positions now, as we're going to come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires. Keselowski all the way down in 29th place. Kyle Busch did not get stage points either, so there's some playoff competition that didn't get stage points, which helps us. Chase Briscoe especially, obviously he DNF'd from the race, no chance for him now, as we do lose 2 positions on the pit lane and drop down into the 18th position now as we get ready to go green here for the start of the second stage, which is now underway from the 18th position. The number 1 car of Kurt Busch continues to lead the way here as we have a few less laps in this in the second stage compared to the first stage. Now as stage 1 was 28, now we only have 25 here, as we're once again though on the outside lane, which, as you guys know, on the last restart when we were up top, it did not go very well, so my concern was pretty high right here. I was actually playing it even more careful than last time, because I really did not want to make the same mistakes, because once you knock that wall down a few times, the car just gets worse and worse now, and as we come through out of turn 4 on the outside of that 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's actually running his all-star paint scheme, which is interesting, but we clear him into turn 1, and we settle in here on this bottom lane into P20, so now we have to put the attack to a playoff contender and affiliate teammate of the 95 of Christopher Bell, who I expect easily to be a first-round exit here in the playoffs, and a driver I didn't really expect to be a first-round exit would be Chase Briscoe. He's got 2 wins, he's had a strong season here in his rookie season, he's got some decent playoff points, and definitely at the end of this episode you'll probably see him below the cut line now as we come through down the back straightaway, making it 3 wide with Noah Gragson and the 38 of John Hunter Nemechek now, as we would clear Gregson into the corner, as well as get up the inside of Nemechek, but we wouldn't be able to make it happen. But then I kind of give him a bit of a bump and run here in Darlington, out of turn 2 on lap 4, and sure enough, we pass him, and now we climb up to 17th, getting to the inside of Harrison Burton into turn 3 now on this 5th lap of the second stage, and we would be able to take a 16th place back over, which is where we finished stage 1. So it took us 5 laps to get back into position, but we would now run down the 21 to Matt DiBenedetto into turn 3. Keselowski had run me down, and I go a little bit wide through the center of 3 and out of 4, and that opens the door for Keselowski to come through and actually pass me, and so we gain a position, but we lose a position immediately after. So still P16 here as we start the 8th lap of the second stage. So definitely a little bit frustrating that we are already closing in on the halfway point of the stage, and we're not even in the top 10 yet. We would run down drivers like Bubba Wallace, get up the inside of him, and we would pass him. And then you got Eric Almirola just in front of us as well in that number 10 car, a playoff contender, as you guys know, as he was able to pick up the victory most recently at Watkins Glen, when we had definitely a chance to run him down, but just didn't have enough time to run him down here. As we go down into turn 3 up the inside now of Almirola for that 14th position as we continue to move our way forward. Then we had the next 22 car up in front of us, Joey Logano, a driver that's definitely been close to being a rival, and definitely got to be careful with him. Here's we come down this back straightaway now on lap 13. I decide we're going to send it up the inside of Joey, but he's not going to give us the lane into the corner, so now we make contact with the 22, and now we're into the wall as we come through the center of 3 and 4. Once again, banging doors with the 22 of Joey Logano. He clears us down the front straightaway now as we come through, hanging on to P14. We would run him back down and get up the inside. He's not a rival right now, but very well might be at the end of this episode now, as I take full responsibility for that. That was an aggressive move, and he didn't give me the lane. He didn't need to give me the lane, and unfortunately we saw what happened. Please apologize to him. He probably doesn't give a crap, but that was all on me. There you heard myself just telling the team to apologize to Joey now, as we would just kind of focus forward though. Past Kevin Harvick, get up now to P11 with 10 laps to go in stage 2, and if it stays green, there will be green flag pit stops now. But as we go down this front straightaway, I see an issue up ahead, a bunch of smoke, and it's from the 12 car of Ryan Blaney, who has had pretty much one of the fastest cars all night long, and he's been leading a bunch of this race. He didn't win stage 1, but now he's not going to be winning any stages, because he is going to also be out of this race here in Darlington. We came through another lap around, and we still had to get past him. He had not made it to pit road yet, so this plays right into my just kind of advantage, because we're now able to pass drivers like Keselowski and move up into P8, but then Keselowski actually passes me right back on the exit of 4, so we drop back down to P9, but either way, it still helped us gain some track position, and we're now into the top 10 with 7 laps to go. But once again, some playoff implications for another driver like Ryan Blaney, as everybody now starting to come to the pit lane, but then the caution comes out late in stage 2, and this is going to force a couple lap scrap for the stage 2 victory now, as you got a feel for drivers like Ryan Blaney as well as Chase Briscoe. So very unfortunate for them now, as you see Blaney 4 laps down. He is indeed out of this race as we gain 3 positions on the pit lane here and get ready to go green from P6. Of course, not really wanting to be on the outside, not very comfortable with being on the outside, because it has not gone our way so far in this race when we have restarted up here. But on the bright side, it is only a 2-lap dash here for the stage 2 victory. Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, and then Ross Chastain round out the top 5 now as we come through the center of turns 1 and 2. Keselowski up my inside here as we had stage points taken away from us at the end of stage 1 after restarting on the outside. I already clipped the outside wall, but it was very, very minimal contact, so that should not be an issue as we go down into turn 3 side by side with Kevin Harvick. There's contact, and he drifts up the track and puts us in the wall there as we come through 3 and 4. And now we are once again on the outside of the top 10 as we exit turn 4. So we are continuing to just kind of face the bad luck of that outside lane now, as that was really not on Harvick. That was a racing incident. We just kind of merged into each other, and then unfortunately the contact made Kevin drift up into the side of me and into the wall now as we come through out of turn 2. The 3 cars sideways of Austin Dillon as we are on the final lap now of the second stage, as Kurt Busch once again leads the way into turn 3 and 4, and he is going to be able to hang on for the stage victory, it looks like, over Martin Truex Jr. But we come through up the inside of Harrison Burton out of turn 4. We're going to pass him, but then I actually decide to try and let him beat me here so I can restart on the bottom for stage 3, but unfortunately the caution came out moments before he actually got the position, so we will be unfortunately lining up on the outside again for the start of the 3rd and final stage here, as nobody is coming into the pit lane now as we're going to get ready to go green. And if it does stay green, it is going to be a green flag pit stop in that 3rd and final stage, which could really maybe open the door from potential strategy calls now, but obviously too early in the race to tell. Well, we've had stage points just kind of robbed from us 2 stages in a row, guys. I'm going to do what I can to make it up to you here in the final stage. So like I just said, there are stage points robbed from us in stage 1, and again in stage 2 now as we are underway for the third and final stage here in Darlington Raceway for the Southern 500. 33 laps remain. Can Kurt Busch hang on to get the victory here in Darlington? It would be very cool to see a driver in his final season of the career mode getting a win here at the throwback race of the Southern 500. Now as we're side by side with that number 96 of Harrison Burton. Now as he will not be potentially returning to that car next season, he will still very likely be in the JGR pipeline, and sure enough, the outside lane comes into effect again after contact with Tyler Reddick. I hit the outside wall, and at this point, it's really just all on me making simple little misjudgments here as we go down into turn 1 side by side with Eric Almirola. Fortunately, I'm able to get to the bottom now, but you can just see even from the in-car cam, you can see the visual damage that we've put on that right side now as we go down this back straightaway a little bit sideways there on the exit of turn 2, but I really just gotta stop hitting the wall here as we go down into turn 3. Of course, Darlington, very famous just for drivers hitting the wall here, but unfortunately I think we've hit the wall in Darlington today more times than we've hit the wall this season. As we come through though, back up the inside of Eric Almirola on lap 62, it did not really affect the car too much, so I wasn't too concerned. I just knew that we really could not deal with hitting the wall a couple more times throughout this race without repairing it. Now as we get up the inside of Almirola there into the corner, we were able to clear him and get back up to 13th, run down this next group of cars like Kevin Harvick, Tyler Reddick, William Byron and whatnot, get up the inside of Harvick as we go down this front straightaway, and now we're going to move up into the 12th position here with 29 laps to go in this race. Now as Keselowski has actually taken over the lead as he is actually driving away from the one car of Kurt Busch. So Keselowski looking very strong now. We saw the speed he had earlier when he was able to just drive right on by me when I was trying to pass his affiliate teammate of Matt DiBenedetto, but we got up the inside of Byron and worked our way up into P10 right behind John Hunter Nemechek, and into turn 3 we actually make a 3 wide between them, and we pass them now as we move up into P9 here as we exit turn 4. So continuing to rally our way back now as we came through to 26 laps ago, then we came through to start lap 69. Nice. Now as we go into turn 1, we were running down those next 3 drivers of Chase Elliott in 8th, Logano 7th, and Ross Chastain, who continues to have a very strong night here in that 42 car as he runs in that 6th position. And like I said, we would just kind of run them down a little bit here as we came through on lap 71. Only a couple laps had passed, but you can see the gap considerably closing between myself as well as that 22 of Logano. And then we came through on the exit of turn 2 on lap 72. Now we had run down the 22 of Joey Logano as we go down towards turn 3. I decided to not get too aggressive with him there, but then the caution comes out with 21 laps to go now as Brad Keselowski leads in everybody to the pit lane. I was very just on the fence of what to do, and I decided to actually go with a can and a half of fuel as well as 2 right side tires, as I thought that would be the right call to make, as I was expecting everyone to take 2 tires because we can make it actually on 1 can of fuel here to the end of the race. So I was expecting it to be a 2 tire stop from everybody here now as we're going to get ready to go green for what could be this final restart here in the Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway now as we come in P9, and I got the call completely wrong and we come out P1. Well, there you heard my reaction there on the radio as we made the completely wrong call now as we get underway for what hopefully now is not going to be the final restart, because we need a caution immediately because we are going to drop like a rock here in this final stretch of laps now as we go down into turn 1. Behind us we got Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr. all up in the mix trying to pounce on this opportunity that they have to get around me and go run away with this race victory potentially here as we go down towards turn 3. And now you're really going to see they are right up on me here as we come through the center of the corner. Keselowski nearly able to get to my outside, and Kurt was trying to get to the bottom of me, but fortunately we're able to hold them both off here as we go down the back or front straightaway. Now as I'm not going to give it up quite easy as I still have high hopes as we go down into turn 1. Kurt Busch trying to make a move to the inside, and unfortunately I cut him off. I put myself in the wall. Truex goes through, Elliott as well as they run 1-2 now as Elliott's sideways, and I'm in the wall again as the car is just garbage at this point on the 2 fresh tires as we go down towards turn 3. So I'm in just desperate need of a caution at this point here as now Kurt, Keselowski, they're all both going to go by on the outside, and I felt kind of bad for messing them up as they were 2nd and 3rd, and now they are 7th and 8th, but now we would just drop like a rock here, as we would continue to lose positions down to P12 behind Hamlin on lap 78, and then we would actually get passed by John Hunter Nemechek, drop down to P13 as we came through to start lap 80, but the caution, thankfully, thank goodness, the caution has come out, and we can come to the pit lane and put 4 tires on the car, because we were going to drop down to probably like 20th at the least, I felt like now, but we're going to have to give up a ton of track position here. We're going to drop to like P38 or so, maybe 37, and now get ready to go green for what will very likely this time be indeed the final restart here in the Southern 500. Now, sure enough, P37 giving up 24 positions, but we were at with 13th place when the caution came out, and we were going to continue to fall, and I'm very confident that we could maybe rally our way back to 13th place, but then Quinn Helf in front of us does not go, as he is stuck behind the 49 of Chad Fincham, who did not go as well as we get back underway. So a lot of ground to make up, and fortunately throughout the regular season we had some strong runs. We lucked into a few wins, and we obviously kind of earned 2 wins, I felt like, but I felt like we lucked into the other 2. But either way, the wins that we were able to gather in a few stage wins as well has given us the playoff points to where we can take a hit like this and really not have to worry too much. But I'm still confident that we're going to be able to work our way through the field anyways and get a relatively solid or decent finishing position considering the situation now, as we only have 9 laps to go as we cross the line. But we would make some aggressive moves there up the inside of the 51 of Joey Gase into turn 1. I was on the apron end of the corner, slamming into the side of him now as we came through, passing him for now 34th as we came through on lap 85, continuing to move our way forwards now up to P29 as Martin Truex Jr. was now leading the way. But definitely this hasn't turned out to be the race that we had initially imagined it to be based off how it was going in the first probably half of that first stage. Now as we pass Noah Gragson up the inside of the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., passing him as well, and we just continue to move our way forwards now, passing Kyle Larson as well as the 95 of Christopher Bell, who's just in front of us there for P20. So we will enter the top 20 now with less than 10 laps to go, 6 to be exact. Here as we go down into turn 1, and you see Kyle Busch up in front of us. We would actually run down Kyle Busch very, very easily here as we came through on lap 88 out of turn 2. Now looking to the inside of him as we go down into turn 3, and we still got Matt DiBenedetto right in front of us here, as well as drivers like John Hunter Nemechek as well, and Cole Custer, who's just in front of us as we exit turn 4. So still a lot of an advantage in our favor here as we had the 4 fresh tires, so it was a lot easier to make these moves here as we go down into turn 1. But only 4 laps to go for Martin Truex Jr., who's looking to pick up the victory here in the first race of the playoffs in the Southern 500, which will lock him into that next round here as we came through, passing now DiBenedetto, and then we try to run down John Hunter Nemechek, but it does not look like we're going to get up to P13, which is where we were when that caution came out. Now as we go down into turn 3, approaching just 2 laps to go here in Darlington now as we pass Nemechek for P16, and then we came through now hitting 2 laps to go, but we come through now towards the final lap of Darlington, trying to run down Bubba Wallace here as Martin Truex Jr. has about a 3-second lead or so at this point here as we come through, or as he comes through out of turn 2. So an easy just cruise down the back straightaway into turn 3 for him, looking for his win now as we exit turn 2, closing in on the back of that 23 of Bubba. I'm not going to hold anything back because we still need every point we can get, because you just never know what's going to happen over the course of the next 2 races. So up the inside of Bubba Wallace through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. We will pass him, and now we're going to come through to bring the car home here in what is a somewhat decent finish of P15 considering the situation that we were just in. Martin Truex Jr. though picks up the victory and locks himself into the next round of the playoffs. Ross Chastain actually came up runner-up there in second. Eric Jones, the Hendrick trio right there, actually, of Jones, Bowman, Elliott, 3rd through 5th, and then William Byron down there in P12. But hopefully with myself in the 24 car next season, we can really increase the performance now and have Hendrick Motorsports just be a straight-up powerhouse team. Now, as you see, Blaney and Briscoe, the 2 playoff drivers at the very bottom, very unfortunate for them. But you see there, we actually somehow managed to gain 3 points over the cut line at the end of that. So we somehow, like I said, still gain points. So there you see DiBenedetto, Bell, Briscoe, and Blaney on the outside looking in. Briscoe and Blaney were very expected. They are both 18 points below that cut line, so very unfortunate for them. Now as Kyle Busch, he drops all the way down to P10, so a bit of a surprise to see there. He did have a rough night though in Darlington. Now as always though, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. As you see the playoff grids now on the Truck Series side, the Xfinity Series still has 1 more regular season race to complete, and then the playoffs will be underway for them. Not sure fully what to expect at Richmond. It really can go either way for us on the Cup Series side of things there. So hopeful that we will have a good run, but like I just said, you never really know. Now, as we do have that 37-point buffer above that cut line, so definitely really nothing to be concerned about now. We can really have two rough races after just having one rough one at Darlington and still get away with it now as you see the playoff grid one more time. But like I said, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day as usual to watch this episode and other episodes of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. So in the next one, we will take it to the short track at Richmond, and there you see actually the reputation with Joey Logano. Surprisingly, not a rival after that now. But before we end it, I just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Aiden, Eric, Dylan, Joseph 9001, as well as RJ. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.